Hello and welcome to A Cat and Her Yarn Respun, a knitting and spinning podcast. I'm Kiara Panther on various social media such as Ravelry and Instagram and things like that. This is the continuation of a podcast I had to discontinue several years ago called A Cat and Her Yarn. I've decided to rename this one A Cat and Her Yarn Respun because I no longer have access to the original videos. The place where they were stored online deleted them, and the computer that I had the raw ones on is still waiting to have the hard drive recovered, which is one of the reasons why I had to stop podcasting several years ago, in addition to camera failure and podcast failure and just overall equipment failure. So I originally started this podcast to showcase my daily spinning for the Tour de Fleece, which for those of you who don't know is a spinning event that goes alongside the Tour de France, which is a bicycle race. So while they spin, we spin. And so I decided, since this Saturday is also Tour de Fleece, I would start up my podcast again because I have new equipment. My mother, for an early birthday present, bought me this nice little tripod I'm currently using, along with a microphone. It's basically a podcast in a kit, plus some really nice lenses for cameras. So I have this really cool macro lens. If you're wondering what I'm doing, since it doesn't look like I'm really drafting while I'm spinning, I'm basically putting twist back into some yarn that I had plied, and I'm going to be doing something different, so I unplied everything, and that took out a lot of the twist when that happened. So I'm trying to put a twist back in so I can ply it again. In fact, that's one of the projects I'm going to be working on at the beginning of the Tour de Fleece. I'm going to show you what the fiber looks like. So let's see if I can get this in here. These are my little fiber cupcakes I made. The colorway on this side is the original colorway. It's an orange BFL with oranges and tangerines and black and a little bit of peach. When I first spun it, which is this yarn here, I realized I wasn't going to have enough yardage to make the DK weight. I wanted to make some elbow length arm warmers, and I wasn't going to have enough yardage. So I bought this colorway, which is called Maine Lobster, which is some sort of wool, not quite as soft, but it also has blacks and oranges. It doesn't have quite the orangey red that the orange BFL does, and it's got more of this lighter peach in it, so it is spinning up a lot more muted, like this. So originally, put this down, this was a cable yarn, and the cable yarn, for those who don't know, is, in most cases, you'll take a 2-ply, and then you'll take another 2-ply, and you'll ply them together to make this much more bumpy plied yarn. And so this was originally a 4-ply cable. I've taken it apart and turned it and spliced it into just a 2-ply. And then I spun this, which I'm going to ply with what's on here, make another 2-ply. And then I'll ply it with this to make a 4-ply cable again. However, while I was spinning last night, I was like, this was originally purchased to spin for a spin along in, I want to say 2007, something like that, maybe 2011. It's at least 8 years old, at least. It's just been sitting there, not touched. That's my goal for this Tour de Fleece, is to spin all these UFOs that have been sitting around for almost a decade, if not longer. So I had the idea, since I haven't been spinning this one in a while, I haven't spun this one in a while, and also because of the way the colors are a lot different, more different than I was expecting them to be, I'm going to go ahead and unply this one, and then I'm going to apply one ply of this to this and the other ply to this, and then I'm going to apply them together as a cable jar. So hopefully that'll marble the marble the yarn, whatever word I want, a little bit better for when I actually knit with it. So that is what I'm spinning at the moment. Like I said, Tour de Fleece starts on Saturday. It is currently Thursday the 5th, and Tour de Fleece starts Saturday, July 7th. I wanted to get an episode out before the Tour de Fleece started because I hope to record every day of the Tour de Fleece like I originally did with my original podcast. Probably won't be very long episodes, but I do want to throw something up every day. I am, however, going camping on the 22nd, so those episodes might only go up on Instagram, little minute clips, and then I'll splice together something probably when I get back home, get back to internet connection, something like that. We'll see. I'm not sure what the internet connection will be like at the campground. I might be able to upload directly from my phone to YouTube. We'll see. So, at any rate, I will be taking spinning with me on my camping trip. In the meantime, I have some other knitting and crochet and whatnot projects. The other spinning project I plan on working on during the Tour de Fleece is a continuation of what I'm calling the rainbow samples. You can kind of see here, there's this bright blue here, and then I switch to this. Underneath all this is reds, orange, yellows, and greens. Basically the little samples, like when you buy a new spindle and they include a little bit of fiber for you to kind of get a hang of the spindle, that kind of thing. Or I took a bat making class, and instead of each of us getting the bat we made, they decided to tear the bat up into little pieces so that every person got a sample of what every other person's bat was, and that didn't leave me with a lot, and I've just been holding on to it going, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. So finally I collected enough of all these little samples that I'm spinning them up in rainbow order, and then I'm going to ply it with some white, I think it's BFL silk, I know it's wool silk, and go from there. So it'll be a 2-ply, and this is the color I'm on at the moment, which is a kind of a dark tealy blue with black, or dark gray, with a few navy and browns, kind of a reddish brown there too. And then after I'm done finishing that color, this is what I have left of my samples. Hold it up so it's easier to show. So I'm going to do this one next, which is one of the bats from the bat class. It's red, yellow, and blue, but when I tried to spin it up and put it in the red section, let's see if that comes out, it spun up looking more blue. So I've got a little bit here. From this way it looks red, but compared to the other colors it looked blue, so I pulled it out and saved it for blue. And then we'll go to this sparkly lavendery light lilac color. You can't see it's got fire star sparkles in it. You can't see that, unfortunately. That was a sample I got with a drop spindle I bought. This is another one of the bats. I think this is the one I did, actually. And it's green underneath with some blues and a whole bunch of purples and some more purple sparkles. So I'm hoping that spins up purpley, because that's where I've got it planned for. And then this is another sample I got with some fiber I had bought, and they sent me a whole bunch of this to try out. I do love the colors. If I hadn't, well, I'm just kind of kicking myself that I didn't go ahead and buy more of this. So I'm going to finish up that colorway with this. It's a really like indigo purple kind of thing with the light purple on the other side and the teal in the middle. So hopefully that also looks kind of purplish. Either way, it should still end up being really pretty. And that's what I'm going to spin. The other thing I'm going to spin for the Tour de Fleece. I'm hoping I'll get to something else as well. Okay, Okay, I'm really sorry about that. For some reason it's turning off at 10 minutes, and I don't know why that is. When I did a test video, it did it for 33 minutes and then made a second 33-minute video without interrupting. So I ended up having an hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes worth of video, split up into 3 videos until I ran out of storage. But for some reason, it's wanting to do only 10 minutes at a time, and I don't know why. So I'm going to try and keep an eye on the clock and do a more relaxed break every 10 minutes and splice this all together, I guess. Really sorry. So anyways, I was showing you my hand spun scarf. Need to graft it in pattern. I was about to show you the, oh, this is the bad part of the yarn, but it's still really pretty. Bulky single. I'm very proud of it. It was very fun to knit, very fun to spin. It was really nice. The other thing I've been knitting lately is I'm redoing the dragon tail scarf again, because I tried to make it work with this yarn, but I only had 2 balls of this and there just wasn't going to be enough. I tried changing needle sizes, all other stuff, it just wasn't going to work. So I finally broke down and bought this yarn, which you can see is lighter, but still in the same color family. So what I'm going to do is, when I get to a certain point on this, I'm going to add this. And the whole point of what I'm doing is to then attach it to this, which is a hood. So the sides of scarves, I'm going to do 2 identical ones. They'll be attached here. I can have a hooded scarf. So you'll have the really dark gray to the darker teal to the lighter teal. And the reason I'm doing this is because the original pattern for this dragon tail scarf, the way it ends, if you do it from tip to tip, because of these indentations, you can't create this same look at the other end if you're knitting this way. And I don't like the asymmetricalness of it, so I decided to knit 2 scarves from the tip and attach it to a hood, because I like hooded scarves. So I thought that was a good solution for me to enjoy this pattern without having something that would upset me. And this is my little progress keeper, my stitch counter, and so it's just your standard one. I put it on beads, and then I added this little term to it that this thing does not want to focus on. But anyways, and then I keep it at the end here, because I actually like the added weight when I'm knitting. Maybe it'll get annoying when it gets longer, I don't know. So that's one of the things I've been knitting. And then the other thing, I sewed this project bag recently to house my crochet project. And I made it extra squishy, and it's huge. It could fit a sweater. Right now it fits a baby blanket. Baby blanket I started a while ago and then ran out of the yarn and couldn't find the yarn again. And lo and behold, there was the yarn again at a local shop. That's the Plymouth Yarn Dream Baby DK. I was able to find this yarn, but not the colors I've been using. And all 4 of them were at the yarn shop I went to in Eugene, Oregon. By the way, I'm in Oregon now. I originally started this podcast in Washington, then I continued in Georgia. Now I'm back in Oregon. It's one of the reasons why I stopped the podcast, was the whole reasons for needing to move back to the Pacific Northwest. Unfortunately, this is more tangled than it was a minute ago. There we go. Of course, when I put it back in, the hook decided to tangle in the blanket. But this is a baby blanket that I have been making for my now 4.5-year-old nephew. But like I said, I ran out of the yarn. Went back to the store and got more yarn. Ran out of the yarn again. Went back to the store to get more yarn. They didn't have it anymore. And that was about the time I was needing to move from Georgia. So, yeah. So I wasn't able to order it, wait for them to order the new colors. So now hopefully I can finish it. He still loves blankets, so I'm just going to make it longer than I intended. So it could be like a shoulder scarf kind of thing for him to wrap around himself. And I made this, it's interlined with this velvet fabric here I had left over from a costume. And I made that the bottom. It's a nice square bottom. And then I interlined it with that velvet some more, and then just lined it with this gray linen weave type stuff. So it's actually got 2 layers of that velvet in there, facing each other so that it didn't catch on stuff. And then the fashion fabric and the lining. And then I used a fashion fabric to make a handle. And I'm very happy with how well I lined it up. And I love this fabric. And everything's so squishy. So I'm loving that project. I want to make some more project bags. I'm a little crazy on with fat quarters lately. Got a whole bunch of bags lined up. We'll see if I actually get them all sewn up. I started realizing I had a whole bunch of fashion fabric and not really anything to line them with. I mean, I could have lined more fashion fabric, but that seems like a waste. So I'm being silly and trying to collect nice colored lining fabric now. Some of it's prints, but like very muted, like just outlines of leaves and things like that. So that is what I've been working on. Oh, for those of you who used to follow my podcast, I am engaged. I got engaged in January, end of January. This probably won't focus on that either. But for those of you who may remember, I was in a relationship when I moved back to Georgia. That's another reason why the podcast ended. There was just a lot of stuff, but that was a 2-year process to go through. But I met a wonderful man. He's awesome. I mean, seriously, I call him my unicorn because I keep wondering what romantic comedy he's out of, because he couldn't possibly exist. And we've been together for several years now, and he proposed a few months ago. We're hoping to get married on our dating anniversary, which is at the end of May. And then right now we're talking about basically camping across the United States for our honeymoon, because I love camping. So that'll be fun. He's originally from Oklahoma, so one of the places I really want to camp is Arkansas, because he spent a lot of his childhood in the mountains of Arkansas. So I've driven through Arkansas at night twice now. I've still not gotten to see any part of Arkansas during daylight. So that's my main goal for the camping across the United States, is to head to Arkansas. We'll probably go to Oklahoma first, obviously, to see his family. In fact, we're kind of actually talking about maybe getting married in Oklahoma, so because his mother has a hard time traveling, and my mother's very excited to get to travel to Oklahoma because she hasn't really gotten to spend a lot of time there. So, and you don't have to be a resident to get a marriage license in Oklahoma, in most of the counties anyways. So right now the tentative plan is to get married in Oklahoma so that his mother can go and my mother can go, and then from there my mom will come back to Oregon and we will go camp in Arkansas for the first part of our honeymoon. And then probably end up in Michigan, which is where his father is, who also cannot travel. I want to go back to Georgia and visit my friends, and probably to Florida where my stepmother is. My father passed away several years ago, but I still like my stepmother a lot. So I think that's pretty much it. I don't want this to have to go too much longer. In fact, actually, I think this thing is about to, it's about to go. I'm going to finish this up by saying I'm really sorry, by the way, it keeps splitting things up. I did do a test run. It gave me 33.10 files. It kept going while it recorded my ceiling. So I don't know why all of a sudden it's deciding it's only going to do it for 10 minutes at a time. But again, I'm going to record again in a couple days for Tour de Fleece. Hopefully I will figure out a solution by then. Otherwise I'll just have to keep a track of 10 minutes and do some better breaks. So I hope to have the Tour de Fleece episode up probably Sunday, maybe not till Sunday night. And then you'll get another one really quickly for the Sunday episode because I've been doing Pokemon Go for exercise and walking about an hour a day, things like that. And there's a community event on Sunday. So that's 3 hours. And then I'll come home and I'll record for the Tour de Fleece and upload it. So I will try to get Saturday's episode up Saturday night, but it might just be some sort of double episode or something like that for Sunday night. We'll see. So again, I'm really sorry about how choppy this episode is, working out the kinks of recording with my phone. Since the old style camera that I had, I don't have. I didn't think I was going to need to replace it with that because these are supposed to be able to record videos and things. Anyways, I'm rambling again. So I will see everybody in a couple days, and if you're spinning, I hope you're having a happy Tour de Fleece.